So, hi guys. So, just a little bit about APO that he mentioned I'm in. We are a service fraternity here on campus, and we focus on the three main points of friendship, leadership, and service, with the main focus being service. And so, we want to go out into the community and do service as a big group, which really helps bring camaraderie and make sure that we can do really big projects together as a whole as well. So, next slide, please. So first I'm going to talk about what is intention. So if you look it up, it'll say intention is making forth and going to do a plan. And so you could have good intentions by making a plan to go volunteer. But for me, I think it's one step further, and it's making that plan and making sure that your heart is really in it too. So not just going to go volunteer, but really putting your whole self into that volunteer work. So whenever I started at APO, I did have the intention of joining and doing service, but the first couple semesters, I definitely was doing my service more as a requirement base. I got them done at the very last second, and I was just trying to get those service hours done, and I wasn't really fully into it. And so now that I've done it longer and really gotten into these service activities, I get them done at the beginning and then do a lot more extra hours that aren't requirement based just because I enjoy doing the service. So, flipping from that, not really into it to really enjoying the service isn't super easy, and it's not like flipping a light switch. You really have to make that extra push and commit yourself to going to those things that you sign up for. And it's really about having that positive attitude whenever you go. You can't be waking up and thinking, oh, I stayed up too late last night. I really don't want to go to this event. I just really don't want to be here. You have to have that positive attitude of wanting to really think like, I'm going to enjoy this experience. I'm going to get to learn information about new people and really just go help my community out for the better. Next slide. So now I'm going to talk about how you can grow in knowledge through your service. So that's part of the reason I'm in college, is to further my education and learn new things. And I don't think that just has to be through reading books or attending lectures. Serving has really shown me knowledge that's applicable in the real world and through experiences and meeting people. And so, yes, service is a good resume builder because of this, but that's the reason why, is because you learn things through doing these activities. And so that's the reason why it looks good on a resume. And so you want to do it not just because of that resume boost, but because you want to learn those things as well. So if you aren't serving for intention, try and ask yourself why that's the case. Do you enjoy the type of service that you're signing up for? Are you signing up at a bad time? Have you found a group of people to do it with? Try and figure out those reasons why your heart might not really be in the service. Next slide. So here I'm going to talk about two types of service that have really impacted me. The first one is called Remote Area Medical Clinics, or RAM, and this is a group that provides healthcare to those who are underserved and uninsured. And so I have really loved being a part of this group and watching how they help out the community. Um, for me, it's really inspiring as a pre-med student who wants to be a physician in the future, to see these physicians giving back to their community and doing something that they would get paid for free in their spare time. And also just to see how much they help these patients. Some of these patients may be undereducated on how to properly care for their teeth, let's say, and they might get infections, and it's really painful. And because they're uninsured, they can't get the care they need to take away that pain. So I'm really glad to be part of RAM and help, watch these physicians extract the teeth and help with the process and take away that pain for them. The second one I'm really passionate about is the Boy Scouts of America, or BSA. My family growing up has been really into the outdoors and hiking. My brother was in Cub Scouts whenever he was younger, and so I would tag along on those little camping trips. And then whenever I was 14, I was able to join Venturing, which is a co-ed group based off of BSA. And so then I could go on high adventure bases, where, as you can see in that picture, we're camping outside in below 0-degree weather. And so like I really enjoyed all these experiences, but being a girl, I couldn't actually be in the BSA group. And now girls are allowed in those groups. And so I'm really glad to be able to teach the experiences I've learned to them, but also learn new things in the process. I've learned how to tie knots and go on canoeing trips, and just learned a lot from the other leaders there as well. And so I love being a part of that group and helping them to earn that Eagle Scout award that is so well recognized among the community. Next slide. So the reason that I really love serving in those two areas especially is because I have passion for those areas. I'm pre-med, so therefore RAM is I'm really passionate about, and then I love the outdoors, and my family has just been a part of Scouts for a while, so that's another area I'm passionate about. So I want you all to think about what are some maybe areas that you are passionate about, and are there any areas, service areas that you could go into that would really get you up in the morning again and again to go and try and help serve? And are there any experiences that you have gained in the past from doing volunteer service work yourself? Next slide. So whenever you're serving, I mentioned with intention, you want to make sure your heart is really in it. And so an example of this is, let's say that you signed up to go clean up trash, but you don't really want to be there. So you only pick up some of the trash you see. You don't want to get anything too heavy because you don't want to carry around this heavy trash bag all day. Well, then you're taking the spot of someone who could have gone and cleaned up all the trash they saw. And, or even if their spots aren't limited, you are still not bettering the community as well as you could. So you really want to serve in areas that you're passionate about, that motivate you. And so this is just to show some of the ones I've done, but that there are so many opportunities out there for you to serve and be passionate about. And so try and find those service areas that you enjoy. And if you're having trouble figuring out what that is, you can ask yourself some questions like, are you passionate about the environment? Maybe the medical field? Do you have a community that you're a part of that you would love to help out in? Or even if one doesn't immediately come to mind, you may be able to find it through some of these service areas that you try out. For me personally, I like the ones that I can really see the difference I'm making visually. And not everyone's like that, but it doesn't mean that you're serving with any less intention just because you enjoy that visual motivator. To me, it really makes me motivated to see the progress I've done and to see that I've been able to physically help the community. And another thing I would like to mention is that a lot of us college students, we have privilege to be able to have the time and ability to go do these service projects that not everyone has. And I know not all college people are like that. Not everyone can afford to have that time because any time they have needs to be spent towards a job where they can make money towards rent or paying student loans or things. But that's why it's important that those of us that do have that ability and privilege, you and me, both use that to our ability to help those in the community and use our resources. So for an example, you know, a lot of us college students probably have health care, and so therefore it's important for us to help those who don't, like I mentioned, like in the RAM clinic, for example, who don't necessarily have access to that. And just because we have that privilege doesn't mean that we can demean others who don't, because they have a lot of life experience and wisdom from those experiences that they've had and things they've struggled with that we couldn't even imagine because of our privilege. So just because we have that doesn't mean that any others are below us. They have so many things that we have not experienced and so much intelligence in different areas of life. Next slide. So the final thing I want to show you all is the active citizen continuum. And this is about moving past that volunteer stage that some of you may be in and put the community as a priority in your values and life choices. So one way that helped me with this is, you know, I mentioned RAM again as an example, but my first couple of years, I only went to a couple clinics until I heard someone speak about how much work they did to put on this clinic, all the background information, and how many people it actually helped. And so that hearing them speak really motivated me to go help more and do that sort of thing. And so maybe you can use that to help you go move on to that next stage, and use that isn't necessarily going to work for everyone, but for me, hearing that background information really helped me to move past that next stage. And so I want you to think about that. And yes, we can all be a volunteer, but what kind of volunteer do you want to be? You want to make sure that you put your best foot forward and really do that service with your heart in it.